Jess. Welcome to this marvelous mess where I try to make the best of every day with CPTSD and ADHD, finding ways to cope with mental health issues and still move forward in life. It's not easy. I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably know a little bit about mental health issues, maybe about CPTSD and ADHD. One of the things that I feel is stolen from us in having a severely traumatic childhood is a sense of identity. I spent the majority of my adult life not feeling like a whole person, feeling like a shell, feeling like everybody else got something that I didn't get. It's a horrible way to live. It took me a good 20 years, I would say, to come to terms with my CPTSD and to start to develop a sense of identity. And that's what changed everything for me, is facing my diagnosis, accepting that's part of who I am, not trying to hide it or ignore it or deny it anymore. When I was younger, I did spend a lot of time sharing about my childhood issues and my personal issues and all of that, but I didn't ever really grasp the diagnosis as a whole and how it was affecting me. So accepting the diagnosis was the first step for me in starting to make progress at developing a sense of self and developing self-worth and self-love. CPTSD has affected my life in pretty much every aspect. When I was first told that I had PTSD, CPTSD wasn't even an acknowledged diagnosis at that point in time. But I was 18 years old. I had graduated high school, moved out of my parents' house, got a job, and was seeing a counselor for the first time in my life. And he told me I had PTSD. And I told him he was crazy. I didn't believe it. I said, nobody beat me. Nobody touched me in a bad way. How could I possibly have PTSD? It took me about 20 years to come back to that diagnosis and accept that was the truth. Now we have CPTSD, which is more specifically with regard to childhood or complex PTSD, something that happened when our brains were still developing, and it happened repeatedly over and over again, living in a state of trauma. It didn't have to be physical. Mental and emotional trauma counts. It's the real thing. And if your life is impacted on a regular basis by things from your childhood, that could be considered CPTSD. I'm just going to share with you a little bit about how this mental health diagnosis has impacted my life in every way. Every aspect of my life has been impacted by CPTSD: relationships, health, career, addiction, parenting, everything. So I'm going to talk about these different areas, and I'm going to talk about things that have helped me along the way. Things like meditation and yoga, tapping and affirmations and acrylic painting, and just finding different ways to get in touch with myself. Because one of the most painful aspects of CPTSD is self-abandonment, because we didn't develop a strong sense of self in childhood the way that we're supposed to. and we're constantly looking for outside validation to tell us that we're okay. Give me a holler if you know what I'm talking about.